Okay, it's Kene once again, and today I shall be talking about Python strings. Now, the lesson on Python strings will cover three sessions, right? So I will discuss Python strings in three sessions. I know I haven't posted any videos, in a very long time, and I'm quite sorry about that. So let's dive right into it. I'll begin by sharing my screen. Okay, so guys, we need to get started right away. Right here, I have these string methods. I'm going to explain, in very simple terms, what strings are in Python and what methods are. So a string is like a collection, a sequence of characters enclosed in quotation marks. So that's what you would consider a string, like an array, sort of. So you can get a particular character by its position in Python. Okay, so that's that for strings. And then what do we call methods? It's a function, of course, that's what it is. That means it's a block of code that is meant to do something like carry out a task. So that's what it is. And you usually have it within a class. That's for a method specifically. So a function that is within a class, if you know about object-oriented programming, within a class that you call a method. Right. So enough of that. That's with beyond the scope of our discussion for today. We just want to concentrate on string methods, and these are blocks of codes that do different things. A a method, a string method will do something concerning strings, right? I begin with the capitalize method. Now, what does it do? You see here that it converts the first character to uppercase. Let's get into it now. I'll create my first variable. A variable is simply a location, in memory for data. So you can assign a value to that variable. So I'm just going to create a string here enclosed within quotation marks. So I would say I let me make that small letter. I am a boy with a full stop. So that's my string there. And then I am going to now, strings are immutable in Python. And what does that mean? Once a string is created, it cannot be changed. So you can only create another variable from the string already, in existence. So I'm going to have, for example, str2, and then I'll call the capitalize method. So calling the method simply means using it. Okay, so I'm going to have str1 and the capitalize method. Remember that a method, the structure is that there should be open and close parentheses. So capitalize that. So that's studying str2, and I'm going to print what we have there, output it, str2, that's the variable having the value of the capitalized string. So let me run my program. Just a moment, guys. I need to get this off the screen. Okay, so I'm just going to run, and you see I am a boy. So the I there is capitalized. That's what it is basically. So sometimes you want to make sure that the first character or the first letter of a string is capitalized. Okay. Now, what happens if, for example, there's a space? I put a space there and I capitalize. We'll see. Now you see that the I there isn't capitalized, but you would wonder, but I have an I as the first letter. Yeah, that's the I is the first letter, but not the first character. Remember that a space is a character in its own right. So let's get that. Okay, so that's that. Now, what about case fold? It's a method we use to convert all letters, in a string to small case letters. That's it, basically. And it's stronger than the lower method. We're going to see the difference between the case fold and the lower method. Now, let me just give an example. So I have here, um, I know the boy, okay? I know the boy, and I'll just change this to case fold, right? So when I print, you see that every letter there is, is a small case letter. Now, guys, what's the difference? Because if I call the lower method, I still get the same output. I still get the same output. So what's the difference? Why have the two, in Python? Now, the case fold is stronger than the lower. We're going to see. Take, for example, let me say in German, there is this letter that is pronounced the way, in English, the way we pronounce SS, like S. So that's what it is, basically. So if I say the snakes, and just let me copy this from here and put it right here. So this like the snakes hiss, right? But you see that this isn't SS, but it is in terms of realization in English, right? So this is already small letter. It's already a small letter. But using the case fold, it is further, changed or converted to the SS that we know, like, okay, in English, okay? So if I run my program, sorry about that, we see that nothing changed, right? It's still that same character there. But if I also have changed it earlier. So if I change this to case fold, we'll see the result. You see that it acts on this particular character, changing it to, small letters. That's the difference. It's just basically the case fold is stronger than the lower, but they are the same in terms of function. Okay, now let's go to the center. The center method, what does it do? Okay, I have this. Let me just change this to SS. And if I call the center method on str1, I need to specify the number of characters that should be, given in the output. So if I say 40, what this means is that this string, the snake's hiss, will be placed in the middle of, the characters you have, that is the 40 characters that we have specified here to be centered. So altogether, there will be 40 characters. Let's see. So we see. Now, if I count, let me just call the len method on str2. Len, that's to count the number of characters in a string. Here, we see that there are actually 40 characters, okay? All right, so that's that for center. What about the count? The count method. What is it for? Now, suppose I want to get the number of S's in the string, the snake's hiss, which is stored in str1. What method would I use? Simple. I'll just use the count method. So I'm going to specify the character that I want to count. In this case, small s, okay? And I need to remove the len. Okay, so that's that. So let's see what str2 gives us. 4. That is what it is. Now, if we count the S's here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what if I have just, for explanation's sake, I have capital S and I run? Would I say have 4? Definitely not. We have 3 because it is case count method is case sensitive. So it's not going to recognize capital S as a small case S. That's what it is. Now, there are other parameters or arguments, so to say, for the count method. You can specify an end point and a start point and an end point. So I could decide to start my counting from the third character. So for that, I will just have 2, because we need to count from 0. So T0, H is 1, E is 2. So the counting starts from this E here. So it begins from E. Let's say start from, change this back to small s. So starts from 2, no, 3, and 4. So let me make it 5, just so that the first S is not included. So I start from the 5th position, that is counting from 0, and then I end at, say, okay, let me see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right, so let me see 15, okay, or rather 16, because it will take 1 off. Oh yeah, I started counting from 0, so that's 15. So let's know how many. 3. You see that the first S is not included, so it counts this S and the 2 S's here. That gives us 3. So that's it, guys. You can specify a start position or an end position. Now, suppose I don't want to count the number of characters, that is the end point. I just want to use the len method to get the last index, right? So I can just say len, and in len, I'll simply supply str1. So that gives us the number of characters in the string. So that will be the end point. So if I run, I still have 3. It all depends on you, okay? Right, then let's come to the ends with. It's very simple. Using the ends with, as you can see here, it returns true if the string ends with the specified value. That's just what it is. So suppose I want to check if my string ends with small s. I would simply use the ends with methods. I call the ends with method on variable str1. And that's what it's going to be. Let's see. So we have true or false. False. Oh, so why? Here, guys, we forgot the dot here. So it's a character, and that's what it's checked. The dot is not an S. So if I run this again, having removed the dot, we'll see what we have. True. That's it. Now, what if I check if it ends with capital S? Would that be true or false? False. Remember, it is case, ends with is case sensitive. So if I really, really wish to have it return true for any case of S, be it the capital case or the small case, I could just convert the S to lowercase, okay? So that's it. And that's going to make that capital S, small s. And that's going to be true. Remember, guys, the lower method changes the case of, the characters of a string. It changes from capital to small letter. All right, so that's that. Now let's come to the find. What is the find used for? What is the find used for? The find method. Good. Let's say, guys, that I want to find S, the small s. Okay, how do I do that? Yeah, you already know. I use the find method. And what does the find do? It gives you, it returns the index, the position of the first occurrence of that letter. So you see that there are 4 S's in my string, the snake's his. What it's going to do is get the position of the first S beginning from 0. So this is like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4, right? That's the position for this first S counting from 0. So let's see if that is the case. I run, and yeah, it gives us 4. So that's what it does. It gives you the index, the position. That is, the find method returns the position of the character that you supplied. That's what it is. So if I put capital T, what will be the index? Guys, can you guess? It's going to be 0 because it starts counting from 0, and the first letter there, or the first character, is the capital T. So the position or the index is 0. Great. So now let's see, guys. What would you say is the difference between the find method and the index method? So str1 dot, using the dot notation, index, and then I put T. So let me print str3 and we see what it gives us. So we see the position 0 or index of 0. That's what it is. They are basically the same, but there's a slight difference, and I'll tell us. Should the find method not find the character that is requested? The find method will return -1, but the index method would raise an exception. That is, it would result in an error. That's the difference. So let's see, guys. If I have y, since there is no y in my string, and then I have y, we'll see. Now, guys, can we see? It says here, blah, 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 trace back, simply raising an exception or an error, and that breaks the code. So we don't get to see what str3 is, okay? Now, what if I put str3 before the str1, and then I run? Let's see, guys. The same thing. Okay, so you see that if it doesn't find, and what's causing this error here is this index. Index cannot find the capital letter Y. So that's the difference. So if you don't need the error exception being raised, then you should stick to the find method. That's what I would propose. So just stick to the find method if you need to check if a character exists or not. So let me take this off, and then I run, and then you see that we have -1. So that's it. Okay, so guys, we move on to the format method. What does the format do? The format method. Sometimes, you want to include decimal numbers, okay? Like with the decimal points, floating point numbers in your string. So you want to format it like in terms of, oh, this is currency or it isn't. We use the format method. So if I have here, let me just change this a bit. The bag costs. Now I'm going to provide a placeholder within the string. Okay, so I'm going to call it cost, and that should be followed by colon and a dot to say, okay, I want to introduce the decimal point. So the dot there, and then how many decimal places. So I'm going to say 2, for example, and indicate that it's a floating point number, that's to be generated. So cost colon and 0.2f. That's it. And then I would call the format method here, call the format, and provide the value of the placeholder used. Make sure it's the same. So the cost will be, say, 25, right? So that's the cost. And when I run str2, we'll see what that gives us. So we see the bag costs 25, blah, 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 0.00 naira. So 25 naira, 0 kobo. That's how we can format certain values within the string. Okay. All right. So there's another way, guys, without using the format method. We can use the f keyword, so to say, which acts like a which is like a way of formatting our string. Okay. So how do we do that? So I can come here and just put the f, just put an f, and that means I'm going to change something here. The bag costs. So it's still going to be the variable that I am going to create. So I haven't created it yet. The bag costs. So I'll just put that in curly braces. So I don't need to set the value already. The value is preset before, declaring the string. So I can say, create the variable here, cost, and the cost is 45.40, right? That's the cost. That's an integer, and which is what I have provided here as cost. So once I have done that, I just need to, pardon me, guys, let me just comment this out. So I'll print str1 and we'll see what it gives us. So we see the bag costs. Now it takes off the trailing 0. That's the difference. So you may wish to use the format as in like format method if you need it displayed really. Okay, so that's it, guys. I will take a break here and I'm going to continue in another video. I hope we learned something. And just before I wrap it up, talking about string methods. Okay, remember at the beginning I said that the string is like an array, in Python. So it is indexed. A character occupies a certain or a given position, right? So let's say str1, the bag costs 5 naira, for example. So let me take this f off. The bag costs 5 naira. Great. And what if I want to check if a particular word or character exists within that string? If I want to check if a particular character exists, how do I do it? You can use a loop. So I can just say, for example, if bag in str1. Okay, so that's using an if clause in Python. So if bag in str1 print. So let me just say yes, there is. Just like that, okay? So let's see, guys. So we see that there is, yes, there is. So that's one way of checking if a character or a word, a sequence of characters exists in a string. And guys, what if I want to also say, for example, collect segments of a string? Do you understand? So that's what we call slicing. There's really no method for that. Like Python provides a means by which we can do it using square brackets. So if I say, for example, part, which is part of the string, don't mind my naming style here. So I can say str1 at beginning from position, say 0 to say 9. So guys, let's see what this means. Square brackets will hold the start point and the end point. Now, the start point is inclusive. It means that it is the character there is included in what is to be returned. But the end point is exclusive. That is, the character at that position is not included in the output. Okay, so now let's see what part is. I'll print part and we'll see what it is. What would that be? So we see the bag. So this here goes from 0 to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me take that again. 1. Okay, start from 0, guys. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we see that the C is included. That's what we have there, the bag C. Now, the question is, what if I want to start from the beginning? Do I need to put this 0? No, I really don't have to. I can simply just take it off. So I begin with the colon, right? Just start with the colon. And then we still get the same thing. And if I want to have everything, then I don't need to give a start point and an end point. So the bag costs 5 naira. What if, guys, I want to, let me grab bag from this. What will be the start point and the end point? Think about it for a second, wherever you are. Think about it. I want to get bag. Remember, you start counting from 0. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it starts to have the B at position 4. So this is 4, right? 5, 6. Now I cannot stop at 6 because that would take off the G. So I need to include one more position, which is going to be exclusive. So that will be 7. Okay, so 4 to 7. If I print, I have bag. So guys, I hope you understand how that is done. That's bag. And what if I want to get to the end and I don't know how many characters there are within the string, but I just need it to, get to the end of the string? I'll just call the len method on str1 on my string, that is. So len, and simply provide str1. That's what it is. So from 4 to the end of the string, that's what I'm going to have there. Okay, right. So bag costs 5 naira, beginning from 4. And that's it. And if I wish to start from the very beginning, remove the start point. And when I run the program again, I have the bag costs 5 naira. Okay, guys, I hope we've learned something about slicing, string slicing, and looping through using a loop kind of, I mean, using the if clause to check if a substring exists within a string, right? So I'll see you guys in our next lesson. We'll look at some of these other methods here, and we'll see how to loop through all the characters within a string. Do have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Bye.